All right, let's talk about something that makes a lot of people nervous, word problems. But what if I told you we're going to look at them in a totally new way? We're not treating them as math problems. Nope. We're treating them as translation problems. Let's get into it. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to completely reframe how you even think about word problems. Then we'll build up our basic math vocabulary, look at some really tricky phrases, and learn how to build bigger expressions. And finally, we'll talk about why this skill is, well, such a game changer. Okay, section 1. Let's get right to the heart of it. The real secret to finally cracking word problems is learning to stop thinking in English and start thinking in the language of algebra. Be honest, when you see that phrase, does your heart rate go up just a little bit? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. For so many of us, the second you mix a paragraph of text with numbers, the anxiety just kicks in. But what if it's not actually the math that's the problem? This right here is the whole secret. It's not a math problem, it's a language problem. You just haven't learned the language yet. Every single word problem is just a sentence that needs to be translated from English into algebra. Once you know the vocabulary and the grammar, it all gets so much easier. So, just like learning Spanish or French or any new language, we have to start with the basics, the vocabulary. We need to figure out which English words are basically code for specific math operations. And here it is. This is your essential dictionary, your Rosetta Stone for algebra. This slide is your foundation. Words like sum or increased by, those are your signal words for addition. See decreased by, that means subtract. Product is multiply, and quotient is divide. So let's see how this actually works. So when you see a phrase like the sum of b and 8, your brain should immediately lock onto that signal word, sum, and just translate it. b plus 8. That's it. Simple, right? How about this one? The product of x and y. Product is our signal for multiplication, so that just becomes xy. Okay, one more for now. See decreased by 6. The signal word is decreased by, which tells us to subtract. So the expression is c minus 6. Getting these signal words down is the absolute most important first step. Okay, you've got the basic vocabulary. Now it's time to talk about grammar. Because in algebra, just like in any language, word order can change absolutely everything. And, well, there are a few phrases that are basically designed to trip you up. I really want you to pay close attention right here, because this is where most of the mistakes happen. We're on the lookout for what I like to call turnaround words. This is so important. You can't always just translate a phrase from left to right the way you read it. Some of these phrases force you to flip the order of the terms around. This slide shows it perfectly. Look at that first one. 10 decreased by twice a. It translates in the exact same order. 10 minus 2a. Straightforward. But now look at the second one. 3 less than twice a number. That phrase less than is a classic turnaround. It's a signal that you have to flip the order. You start with the second part, twice a number, or 2n, and then you subtract the 3. See the difference? Let's just burn this into a process. When you see 5 less than d, here's your mental checklist. Step 1, spot the words less than. Step 2, know that means you're subtracting. Step 3, and this is the big one, recognize it's a turnaround phrase, so you have to swap the order. That means you start with the second part, d, and then you subtract the first part, 5. The answer is d minus 5, not 5 minus d. That's the trap. All right, now we're ready to put it all together. We're going to combine our vocabulary and our new grammar rules to start translating longer, more complex algebraic sentences. And our most important tool for doing this is going to be parentheses. Seriously, the best way to think about them is like punctuation for math. They group ideas together that belong together, ideas that have to be taken care of as one single unit before you do anything else. Okay, let's try one out. 1/2 of the sum of L and W. Now, that might look a little complicated, but if we break it down, it's really just two simple ideas that are connected. So, first things first, we've got to identify the main idea. In this case, it's the sum of L and W. We know from our vocabulary that sum means addition, so that becomes L plus W. And because that's one complete idea, we wrap it up nice and neat in parentheses. Okay, now we can deal with the first part of the phrase 1/2 of. Well, taking half of something is just the same as dividing by 2, right? So we take that whole group that we put in parentheses, the L plus W, and we divide it by 2. That's a perfect example of how parentheses keep everything in the right order. Ready to level up? Let's tackle this one. The product of 5 more than a number and 4. The secret here? You gotta pay really close attention to the punctuation in the English sentence itself. See that comma? That comma is a huge clue. It's basically separating the two things we need to find the product of. The first thing is 5 more than a number, which we know translates to n plus 5. And the second thing is just the number 4. And now we just follow the main instruction, which is to find the product of those two parts. That means we multiply them. So we get 4 times the quantity n plus 5. See how we just built that whole expression piece by piece? So we've learned the vocabulary, we've learned the grammar, we've learned how to structure these algebraic sentences. But really, why does any of this matter? Well, this skill goes way, way beyond just passing a math test. Being able to do this translation is the foundation for almost all higher-level problem solving. So let's boil it all down. This is your translator's cheat sheet. First, always hunt for those signal words. Second, keep a sharp eye out for turnaround words like less than. Third, use parentheses to group ideas. And finally, pay attention to commas. They are your friends. They separate the big ideas for you. By learning how to translate everyday words into the clear, powerful language of algebra, you've unlocked a way to model and solve some incredibly complex problems. In finance, in engineering, in science, you name it. So really, the question isn't, can you do the math anymore? It's what problems are you going to solve with it?